Swap. Yeah, swap, right.
Walking taco.
That's a soda. I'm in the toilet. We fucking with the hell, hold on, y'all hood. All your reps is tired. Why you trying to chill by the roof? You ain't even fire. Why you trying to chill like the roof? If the roof on fire, you won't let that fucker burn. You's a fucking nerd. Listening to feel down the hill. Yeah, you from Ohio just like me, but I made it. Yeah, it just go higher. It's just me in a station. Yeah. On the plane for all the train wars, I done got in some messy shit. I was the one that was pulling up on the water for selling shit. Let it always be a trouble or band be calling us telling shit. Well, taking shit off the boat gotta be gentle, shit, how it's delicate. Yeah, I gotta say motherfuckers is pitiful. He was just running the sport, you could tell that he wasn't a general. Don't let him blame anything else, only thing that he was a criminal. Yeah, I'm Native American, now let me tell you about some of the river folk. My squeaky and creaking, a hundred don't see me and shiny a minute too flight. Yeah, Catawba, Choctaw, Chickasaw, Cherokee, Shoshone, Seminole. Yeah, we ended the and the shine and wind out, wiping out where they go. Yeah, Dakota, Lakota, and soon now you number in Indios. Yeah, manifested destinies when shit's occurred. We thought Columbus was made right after a president Christopher. That's where you wrong, the information they was passing along got a lot of bias in it, you would never know who was really actually stars. Homie, those the main plans, looking like the main man. Back up in the 1700s, bitch, chillin' at the state fan. Some shit is state fan, but I like to take care of all of my moms with. Ain't talk about a paramount mountain top, but I be on top of shit. That's a soda, I'm in the toilet. You fucking with the hell, hold on, y'all hood. All your reps is tired, why you tryna chill by the booth? You ain't even fire, why you tryna chill like the roof? If the roof on fire, you won't let that fucker burn. You's a fucking nerd, listening to feel down the hill. Yeah, you from Ohio just like me, but I made him. Yeah, it just go higher, it's just me in a spaceship. Yeah. Why you ain't taking no souls? Why you ain't making no gold? Why you ain't taking no hoes with a few things you can take on the road? Yeah, y'all be totally lost, I ain't praising the soul. It's the only thing y'all been waiting for, not waiting no hold. This is the red sticks, take your meds, bitch. If you think about hating no dough, bitch, get your mind right. You making problems bigger than what they are when they finite. Too much problems you got in your life, so you talking about highlights. You look at the past and you start to see things in the hindsight. Distracted with what wasn't my life. You were just trying to get wins up under your belt, but this isn't a prize fight. You were just cutting your ego and couldn't see anything past all the limelights. Yeah, that's a soda. I'm in the toilet. You fucking with the hell, hold on, y'all hood. All your reps is tired. Why you trying to chill by the booth? You ain't even fire. Why you trying to chill like the roof? If the roof on fire, you won't let that fucker burn. You's a fucking nerd, listening to feel down the hill. Yeah, you from Ohio just like me, but I made him. Yeah, it just go higher, it's just me in a spaceship. Yeah.
Now we understand actual history, what things actually mean. So you can have some literate, not literary history, you can have some literacy. Now I'm saying when you reading, you could be a little bit more sufficient with your sufficiency. And you could be a little bit more sophisticated. And your comprehension could be up a little broader. And then you could be able to look at something and be like, oh, that's what that means. Oh, that's what I'm looking at. Oh, that's in history. Now, when we're talking about the Bible, I told y'all it's in three contexts. Spiritually, that means the spiritual space we in. Mentally, that means esoterically, where these seeds is coming from. Physically, that means who's acting these things out. Now, all these things in sync. All these things happen simultaneously. So if you take one lap over the other, you get spooky. For an example, let's say you're a Christian. You get lost in the spiritual attribute of it, your spirit in a sunken place, then you're mixed in somebody else's culture, not even knowing to see the bias or where cripple you at. Then when it play out in your enemy, right, you're not even seeing how this played out physically. So you're not even knowing how to compare and contrast how even a government is playing God on you. And it goes beyond that with a person with this kind of mind. Your own desires play your God. Your own instability play your God. Your own mishap play your God. Then the government can control that. if you participate with some of them things that they get to understand you or know you personally on, or one of their industries. If you take the concept from the spiritual lens and leave it in the mental concept, you end up becoming an esoteric narc or utilizing it as a form of a cult where your spirit had no business being in something, or your spirit is the originator of something, but you're using that something for something that's not good for other individuals, and it may just be monetary gain. So you're just using the esoteric practice where your spirit don't even believe that itself, and then for the most part it's not either, if you create it, you're already in a non-belief, so it can't be a person creating it. A person only could observe something and take it from this position. So that's the only way you're doing the I don't believe in things, but I believe everything concept negatively. When you do that for God, I don't believe inside things. I'm not inside of things, but I believe everything, because you are the spirit who know that we are the ones creating these seeds. And if it looked unrelatable for the great spirit, then for the most part, you know that it's a belief that it's possible for someone else to believe it or create it, but you're not inside it to add dichotomies or subjectivities or to argue for or against something and things of that nature. So that's how you're doing it for the great spirit. You get lost in stealing somebody else's shit, steal something from the great spirit concept, copying from the holy children, and then put yourself into a position where you're utilizing some esoteric, some mental quality that you're not the originator of, yet you got a mathematical program to how to utilize it, and it might could get away with other individuals all the way down to how we see it in today, like foreigners. Now, you will also try to throw away or hide or sweep up under the rug or spoiled milk and let it dry and be spoiled and stink when the physicality start to root up and there's no other mental or esoteric or re-inverted, call it manipulation, way to hide whatever your actions is actually doing. So your hand get actually caught in a cookie jar when you're utilizing an esoteric goddamn cookie, and your spirit is not even the one who made them damn cookies. So why do you own a cookie jar? You see what I'm saying? Get your hands out the cookie jar. So you see what I'm saying? So it's like that kind of energy also when you look at it from that aspect. Then you have individuals who may be low vibrational to the point that they may understand their circumstance, so they're lost into the physical version of it, but have long lost and forgot the esoteric concept, like the language, the mentality, or how to go about it. So something is making a spirit do something, just got it in the wrong area. And that still could be controlled and things of that nature. So you're fully in the physical, knowing that there's an esoteric thing you're supposed to be sensing, yet your spirit is not connected to that to know what it looked like. So it can look like persuasion, it can look like manipulation, and it can look like things that you're doing that look wrong for the right causes, but you just lack the interpretation, you lack the intellect, you lack the communication, you lack the orator, you lack the linguistic, and you lack the right actions to gear it towards for it to look presentable for someone to sit back and give you grace and be like, I understand what you're doing. You just lack a little bit of knowledge to know what you're actually doing and where to gear it towards. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times it's like that too when we start talking about these energies. So this is helping everybody understand literary history before we get into what we're going to get into. We're going to play a little bit of this video too. And I'm kind of glad I'm doing it like this because you're going to be able to hear it. But it's a YouTube video, but based upon you just being able to hear it and not see the video itself and me stopping it too, it's not going to allow them to, I guess, catch on to it or whatever the case may be. Because I could have like wrote something down, but I like to go about it piece by piece so we can hear this AI video talk about it and things of that nature, where, you know, this AI video ain't specifically, well, you know, anything talking about religion and stuff like that is, you know, got some bias behind it and they turn it into some other shit. The religion itself is for that. But this AI video right here specifically ain't geared towards necessarily specific ethnic groups and specific rocking people to sleep. It's just going off an old program of this teaching the Bible and already it's retardation state. So we ain't got to think about this one as you're listening, it being updated to cater to what we're going through right now. No, just it in its natural state and what it mean in history and someone plagiarizing someone else's culture. But for you to understand it in its natural concept. You see what I'm saying? Ooh, shit. So keep that in mind. All right, now look. Well, let me get y'all mind right before 12 minutes before we start playing it. So this is going to help you understand what the Tower of Babel means and who was speaking Babel from the lens of what you understand what Babel means today in the English terminology, where through the lens of just individuals coming over here settling, the individuals who speak in a totally different language and the tribes is going to be considered the ones who speak in Babel or getting into the Holy Ghost or the ones who worship or not worship, but, you know, had the understanding of what the Holy Ghost or the Holy Spirit is. So if you're seeing that and you live in America, you know that come from Native Americans, you know what I'm saying, the holy people itself. So, you know, the Bible is crafted after events that happen physically, from a mind state, esoterically, from a group of spirits that's in that mind and body, interacting these things out, trying to justify what they're doing or is right or wrong. And there's a right and a wrong way to do something, regardless of what it is, whether it's killing or making money. So that gets us into this concept too. So no one be able to hide their hand in some, cookie jar that there's so many cookies in there that other people like. You too busy and distracted, not looking at the cookie jar and knowing that, what I'm saying, you get an extra $10 tax on that peanut butter chocolate chip cookie or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And there's some old recipe your grandmother had and shit like that. Your grandma, you don't say that recipe, that cookie wouldn't even be in a cookie jar without your grandparents, without your ancestors. You know what I'm saying? That cookie wouldn't even be in a cookie jar and shit like that. But you born in a time, you confused, you don't know what's going on. And then if you read the ingredients or some shit like that, there's a whole bunch of other people's names on it. You know what I'm saying? Ask whoever the grandkids are, goddamn it, box of famous chocolate chip cookies. You know what I'm saying? Just ask whoever the grandkids are that. You'll understand what I'm talking about. You'll understand a little bit of what I'm talking about a little bit. Then you'll be like, oh, okay, I get it. I'm saying. Other than that, you're just going to try to find some way to hate on me about. You know what I'm saying? Just find some way that, because that's how the white man got y'all. They even got y'all even hating Native Americans, and y'all don't even really know no Native Americans like that. And if you watch my channel, I'm probably the only one. So you probably even hear my sentiment and try to come up with your white man way of thinking, no matter what ethnicity you is. Oh, why he complaining all the time or this, that, or third. I don't give a fuck about y'all punk ass spirits and things of that nature. Y'all ain't had no people, or you ain't no people of the land. So you don't understand things the way I understand it. And that goes for spirituality. That goes for morality. That goes for honor. That goes for how we deal with relationships. That goes for every motherfucking thing. I can give a fuck about y'all opinion. You know what I'm saying? Oh, shit. And when you're in a position where you got people who actually care about themselves and culture or whatever the case may be, you can't give me no motherfucking opinion or have no discrepancy about what kind of energy I'm in. I'm in the mother. Then, and if you can't see me even getting racism practice on me, who the fuck is you then? You ain't no damn supporter or shit. Get the fuck on. You know what I'm saying? Real shit. Anybody real with goddamn common sense? Goddamn see what the fuck is going on. I don't let nobody just flood my damn, well, my people don't do that. But just for any newcomers or shit. Don't just see nobody flood my shit with some weird miscellaneous names and thumbnails. So there's miscellaneous characters and you think that they got something to do with my chat or something, or they got something to do with me or whatever. No, these are just racist ass individuals that just flood everybody's chat. They just do it on my shit, the most extreme, because I got the highest knowledge. You know what I'm saying? So I'm the white man's kryptonite. Native Americans is white man kryptonite. White man can use all the foreigners and shit to argue against each other and shit like that. The Native Americans, the only one could come and say morality and real shit, and the white man got to hide and do weird shit and flood people and try to create discrediting programs and shit like that, yet secretly copying too. So you understand. All right, now we're 12 minutes in. So peep this peep this too. Let me get this person the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? So if you're new to my channel, just know that the government is ignorant and they practice high disrespect on people's channel. So it ain't got nothing to do with my topic. It ain't got nothing to do with me talking about hip hop or anything to even attract them type of people. So it's just the government still have a weird fetish for Native Americans. You know what I'm saying? So you need to know that. So if you're a young Native American, be prepared for that. You're a young freedman or whatever the case may be, you know what's going on. And all other ethnicities and things of that nature, young Puerto Ricans, Asians, and whatever. You know what I'm saying? You got to make sense out of something. You know what I'm saying? You get up here, start talking about your culture, you will see you getting way more hate than somebody talking about hip hop or something like that. But the same kind of hate that only people attracted to having opposing opinions through the lens of stuff like sports or hip hop and stuff like that. You will be able to understand. Don't take that and how you think you're gonna take it, like whatever you kick it, don't nobody want to hear it or something like that. No, you just got racist ass people being perverts, secretly watching you, and whatever you get ready to express got something that directly goes against their ancestors and directly goes against their books or whatever like that. So when you jump on their platforms or whatever the case may be prepared for that. Or just say fuck they platforms, but I'm your strength, I'm your rock. You know what I'm saying? Use my channel as an example. Now, like I said, right, but we're going to get into this right now. Now, we're going to talk about the Tower of Babel. Check this out.
It is in Genesis 11 that we learn about what is considered to be the very first skyscraper ever built.
That was here. We was built in the mounds. You ain't about to see that nowhere else physically and things of that nature. So this is what's the mound building. And this was where everybody, like the Aztecs and the Maya, they was teaching all the Native Americans. And we was traveling more northern. We didn't start northern. You see what I'm saying? We started southern and eastern. Every continent have a hot spot. You see what I'm saying? Every continent have a hot spot, and then we all spread out, and then we all have that genuine connection.
Or at least, attempted to be built. This tower was intended to reach the heavens, so that one...
So I want y'all to know this. Yes, it was Native Americans that's native to the Great Lakes as part of the Canada. But in history, our history, we've been doing things with each other to migrate there and things of that nature. And then it got extremely negative in the 1700s as far as the fight for Canada and the way that they was dialoguing it to try to make it seem like you travel here too, and why ain't you more southern in the parts of America, the Mesopotamia, whatever the case may be, and shit like that. So it's like an early stage of something that still we hear first, no matter what, on these continents. But not even traveling from Asia or Bergen Bridge. We come from the water here, but I'm talking about areas like Canada and stuff. And when we get more upper northern and shit like that, it was an actual time before settlers came here. We migrated more northern. You see what I'm saying?
One may ascend and commune directly with God himself. But it was more than just a bridge to...
Listen, this is Native American culture. Listen.
To be the very first skyscraper ever built.
And everything y'all listen to, it's on Google anyway. Y'all, I'm pretty sure if they probably hide a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? So there'll probably be some remixed versions. So still watch my channel. But I guarantee a lot of this shit that y'all read in the Bible or whatever the case may be, all you gotta do is type in the same thing and then type in Native American. You're gonna see something that ain't got nothing to do with goddamn government or the Bible or nothing of shit like that, and go deeper into what it actually means and shit like that. So this bullshit. Or just watch my channel.
Or at least, attempted to be built. This tower was intended to reach the heavens, so that one may ascend and commune directly with God himself.
Now it wasn't just one tower. This was our culture. So when they create allegories, they make an object. That's why this is a pig-egg language, where English is always objectifying things. So it ain't just the mini-minis. It has to be river, and now you don't even know what specific river. So we had many mounds and towers, and there was the spot where the SACHEM is at. Pardon me. And when the settlers start coming over, it's also our center government station when we plan how we gonna get the settlers out. So as the settlers start to flood us in and get more militant tactics, here's when they're starting to bring Asians and the freedman over here. But then here's where you get the freedman and the Asians and certain white people not accepting what white people brought them over here to do once you start to get involved and realize what's going on and start to realize it ain't right. And we're cooler individuals. So it become a whole other jealousy towards Native Americans, because it don't matter who they bring with them to the white people also. We got gift of gab. That's what they call it. Don't listen to them serpents. Don't listen to... It ain't nothing. It's just charismatic gifts. We're good people. You see what I'm saying? And we got a culture that make you interested into it. So it's like, that's jealousy to a person that's trying to take something over and make some type of monetary gain off of it. With chocolate, gold, and all this type of shit and things of that nature. We was melting all that shit. We was working with fire first. You know what I'm saying? Only thing we ain't do is the will. And I'm going in on that right now to try to see, wait, did we might not have the will? We might have had the will. Because we had snow dogs and stuff like that and shit. Like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all think the white boy came up with hockey. No, we came up with hockey. We came up with the ice shoes. They just get lost in swords and blades. So they put a blade up under shoes and call it hockey now. It always got to be some knife or dab out a sword energy or some shit like that, though. You know what I'm saying? So keep that in mind, too. Keep that in mind. God damn, where the fuck you go? Don't y'all hate when something drop like right in front of you and like act like it disappeared like in 3 miles away from grandma's season and the corner and the damn candy store at the street? You be like, damn, what the fuck, that penny dropped right in front of me? That I could have swore I looked at it. The quarter fell right there. You know what I'm saying? Be 2 houses down and shit like that. You be like, nah, no way. No way. Out this corner, like it just fell. I just looked at it and shit like that. How's it 2 houses down the way? And I'm inside a house. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's how shit be sometimes. Y'all be people getting out. Y'all don't be knowing about shit. I probably got too many haters in my chat right now. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't about being cool right now. So let's get it. All right.
But it was more than just a bridge to connect man with his creator, but a staple of man to determine where they each belong to.
The tribes.
A hub, if you will.
The hub. We had that hub.
So that each man could
the marketplace.
Find his way back, so as to avoid being scattered across the earth.
We was getting kidnapped. Squanto got kidnapped from the Wampanoag. Squanto got kidnapped and took to England. Now, back then, people and shit like that was like money. But the influence the star got. So this is how we started to create stars. This is how y'all get the Star Spangled Banner. And the white man mind is each star represent the area that they took over, captured, or killed the SACHEM, or the Arachnaswal, or Massasoit, or the Chief. The Chief is just some updated plagiarized shit. With anything with a C on it, or a J, or a V, we got colonized. So Catawbas, we got colonized. All the tribes, the Deer tribe, all the tribes. That's the Watery, the Lum. All of us got that put in one box. Catawba, the Chickasaw, Choctaw. You see a C, Ojibwe. They got colonized by Spanglers. The Diné, Navajo. They got colonized. So anywhere you see a C, a J, or a V, we got colonized by a Jesuit with that Catholic shit. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's our shit though. So keep that in mind. Like, it's our shit. It's just they took out the shit to kill the Indian spirit that make us fight back, and keep all the shit in there that look like our peaceful shit that we was just doing amongst each other. Look at it like this. If we say pretty please amongst each other, and you come over here as a foreigner, and we make you say pretty please, but you got your own kind of God manifested destiny, I never had somebody tell me please. It's almost like destroying the people that gave you a good quality, then taking that quality. Yeah, that is a good quality. We should tell each other please, right? But the people who taught you that, you slaughtered, and like got this jealousy because they was in the position first to be able to tell you that. You get it? It's like that. And they do that with every single piece. Like every single piece of the culture. Every single piece of the language. So this is why they go so hard getting rid of me and getting rid of the Native Americans and shit. They go so hard. You know what I'm saying? We're really like, once you like shadow ban a person enough and shit like that, why is you still showing the person that y'all willing to all flood the channel too? Won't you make the first psyop work? But they see that I ain't that type of giving up person, so they know that psyop don't really work. Y'all said, so they just gotta keep doing other shit and then at this point we 15 years deep. So that's just letting y'all know how long the CIA and the feds and the government willing to do things when it comes to spiritual people, Native Americans, drug dealers, whatever. They willing to have a whole team, no matter who die, a person get replaced, to sit and watch your ass and do psyops for 10, 15 years. You know what I'm saying? That's their job. That's what they do.
It would become known as the Tower of Bable, and unfortunately for those constructing the tower, scattered is exactly what they would become.
What other nations were scattered but the Native Americans? Now, you could say the Africans and stuff like that, but y'all not getting into y'all history as much, dealing with the Asians and the Arabs. White man, the British man, actually made deals with African tribe rulers and Arab, and then a lot of them made deals and allowed the Arab ruler to kind of look over them, because like the kind of relationship that was a little bit more closer with the Asians. So a lot of the Negro tribes in Africa get X'd out a lot of business deals because white man taught the Arab better business qualities or something like that. So the African get tricked out while still trying. So they all still practicing British man shit. It still don't matter though. They all playing that little checkerboard game. So whether you in Africa, Asia, or Europe, Australia, and you hear about rulers, but they're allowed to still have their culture, right? It don't matter. Nigeria and stuff like that, it's because they're practicing the checkerboard game. The reason they didn't allow us as the fourth phenotype to do it because we didn't want to play the checkerboard game and we wanted to be left alone, but we got too much gold. I mean, we got pumpkin seeds, pumpkins, chocolate, gold, like the culture, all the foods and stuff like that that they took from here and spread it across the world. We was the most fruitful here. This is why it's the new world. There is no other reason or nuance to consider why these Spanish people and stuff like that considering this to be the new world, and England and French, right? Or Africa would have been a new world. Asia would have been a new world. Obviously, this is the most fruitful shit here. So the people who want to be left alone and don't want to participate with that is the people who fail too. Okay, the Native Americans. Or we will be in some type of government where you'll be seeing us at the world leadership. We're not in no world leadership yet. Our lands is being utilized in that way, and they're taking our history to make it seem like we didn't participate with that. We did. We was harder than everybody. That's why. You see what I'm saying? When you the hardest, you also want to self-preserve the most too. So it also become what everybody become interested in. There is no other history. You know what I'm saying? Don't sit up here and let them try to change history in your mind and make you think they came over here to vacant lands and it started off as some sharing shit. No. The same way the government is now, we already had that. 3-4 million people deep over here. All the tribes, bands, and the SACHEM. The same way you see my album cover, that's the same way y'all looking at all these foreign governors for all of our cities and states now. That's the same way we already had it. That took time to that. That took 300 years to get us to where we at right now. What they did to us. Do y'all understand that? This ain't no overnight shit. It took 300 years to do that. They're going to celebrate that shit every chance they get. Whether they use decapitated heads to put us on side of football teams, put us in cars, name movies after us, put us on the names of satellites, all kind of shit. This is them. We're prisoners of war. Do you understand that? Y'all like just listen to white man too much.
Noah, who were living in the ancient area of Mesopotamia,
Noah,
and Babylon, whereby they came to set.
Now listen.
Scattered is exactly what they would become. It was the descendants of Noah who were living in the ancient area of Mesopotamia in Babylon, where.
So the descendants of Noah, that'd be somebody from the east, an Assyrian or something like that, coming over here, and at a time before saying, hey, let's all come over here. So this probably will be them describing people who came before the Mayflower boat. See what I'm saying? Or describing the Mayflower boat in general. And then when they buddies started to come over here, the Mayflower people who started to mix in with us, fuck us, and mix in with our culture. This is where you get the early stages in the Bible about someone auctioning off somebody's land or someone having rights to someone's land by being married in. We used to raise virgins over here and things of that nature, and we was trying to relate to the white man. So if a white man married in, it gave him rights to a piece of the land, and he can call himself one of our tribes. It was more of us here than white man. White man got y'all thinking white man came over here and just flooded us, and you just seen scattered Native Americans. No, we ran the thing like a government, the whole thing. So don't get it fucked up. They changing history. The actual history is white man came and tried to be like us, and then it's trying to take us over after a while. So it's not them coming over here and colonizing and killing. It's them coming over here that lead almost to a century. So that'd be like the 1500s leading up to the mid 1500s leading up to mid 1600s. That's the settlers coming over, learning our ways. From mid 1600s to the beginning of the 1700s, learning that you could come in and establish and just flood us. 1700s, now you get colonization and figuring out how to do that. So now you get the Freedmans coming over here to help them hit us upside the head with shit. And Asians and stuff like that. And railroads and stuff like that. Then you get the 300 period of taking Native American 7th generation shit and genocide. So it took a 300-year process, and you can't really completely do genocide. But what the fuck else do y'all think going on? This is how it's done. It's not done the way y'all think it's. You see early stages of it being done when y'all see them about to gentrify somebody else's country. So when they're going somewhere else, killing kids and stuff like that, that's how they did us. But we was the government. That they ain't gonna do that to someone who don't have a government. They'll just go take it over in gentrification. If you got a government, here's where you'll get the news channel. Here's how all the newspapers in Europe was talking and celebrating the slaughtering and Germans doing native hobbyism, but also doing it negative. And here come the hanging a person on the cross concept come from. And a white man acting like it. But it's them laughing at what the England people was doing to us over here. Do you get it? They took a liking to that. They took a liking to like, oh, this how y'all getting rid of them? What manipulation? Making tribes turn on each other, fighting over goods and shit like that, taking over their trade routes. And then when y'all get powerful enough, just go in and slaughter and shoot them all. This some dope shit. You know what I'm saying? Germans was getting high off that shit in their mind. And started practicing that shit amongst each other again. See, that's the thing about white boys. They get high off killing, slaughtering animals, start looking at each other again as animals. Like they can't even spread across the world and do business deals without getting back together and doing it to each other again. They done all left Europe and still find some way to do it against each other again. It's like, Lord Jesus Christ, have mercy on my soul. The evil know how to be evil. They done left their own damn lands from evil and start practicing their evil on other people's land and make us a part of their problems. Make us build their skyscrapers. The Mohawk Native Americans built the best buildings in New York. And goddamn skywalkers and shit. And then in Africa and Egypt, everywhere and shit like that, they make everybody else do every goddamn thing and shit like that. And these cats start fighting over it once it's built. These cats start killing each other again. These cats just don't know how to stop killing and shit. Like, just sit down. God damn. I'll go all bungle up back in Europe again if that's all y'all want to do. Probably ain't no more animals there. Shit. It's all brick land. Big old jail box that y'all slowly but shortly turning California and New York into and shit. Big battery system. Ain't no more trees. No more good grass. It's all turf and cement everywhere and shit like that. So goddamn it, y'all ain't even got no good air in Australia.
They came to settle in a land known as Shinar.
My bad, y'all. Let's get it.
It was the descendants of Noah who were living in the ancient area of Mesopotamia.
So the descendants of Noah is this white man who was coming over here being dirty before they got their united forces together over here to settle with the Native Americans.
Yeah, in Babylon. Now,
if you want to argue with me, name what other point of history that happened. You about to get in your mind and go back to the Bible. The Bible is explaining things in history, bitch.
Whereby
it's not a history book. It's an allegory about history. So if you don't know the actual history, you're going to think the book is the history book, and then you just lost in history in your mind and somebody else's mind that's playing your God. When you understand the actual history, you don't need to get lost into following the money or following the practice. I mean, following the damn words and shit. You can follow the damn practice and be like, oh, fuck this word. This practice is being done. Now you got it. Now you got it. And then you can see if the practice is being done more here than somewhere else. Oh, that's the practice itself. It's just who created the practice come from the city is called Palestine or something like that. So now when you hear about Mormons coming over or other people, or now it make more sense now. Somebody coming to save souls. Somebody coming to indoctrinate people into Christianity. Somebody from another land. So they must have created that program on another land and they wanted to spread it somewhere else. And wherever they went at to spread it, that's why they're trying to change what we already calling our rivers and villages and stuff, their names. So they want to call what we calling our shit Israel. They want to call what we call it. Do you get it? Y'all get it? It's like, don't get slow.
They came to settle in a land known as Shinar. The Bible tells us that these men, or the whole earth for that matter, spoke with one language, understood by all, and that they would come to dwell in Shinar after traveling far from the east.
We all spoke one dialect, no matter the tribe. They separated us and blended us in and put us in different areas, so we lost that type of connection. Then, when we have to interpret with the head chief Jesuit or Mason, right, we have to come up with a pig leg language. So this becomes Hebrew, or this becomes the Catawba Sioux, and this what becomes Cherokee, Muskogean Creek, the Iroquoian. You see what I'm saying? Y'all get it now? You ain't gonna hear this nowhere else. Or if you want to talk about your land, well, go back on your land and make it make sense. You can't make that make sense if you over here on my land. I'm the only person that can make it make sense. See what I'm saying?
The Bible tells us, now the whole earth had one.
Shout out to all the real Israelites that you might be a foreigner, but you're waking up a little bit and you got a lot of me in you. You know what I'm saying? Even in the blood. You know what I'm saying? You got Native American in you. You can only be mixed with Native Americans over here on this soil.
Language and one speech. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar.
Shinar is America. That's what we used to even call it. That's the little Cherokee town. A little bit above Georgia, Atlanta, and below Tennessee and stuff like that. Now, here's the thing, right? Also, when it comes into coming from the east, they're telling you, the Assyrians, it's describing the Assyrians coming from the east.
And they dwelt there. But these men who settled in Shinar were not content to just settle there in the barren lands. Their population was growing, and the people wished to establish a symbol for how great their nation was.
A fort. That's a fort and a flag. So they were starting to come over more and more. This is what's making us frustrated. Because it's like, all right, we being cool with this. Do y'all got some other thing going on now? Our suspicions going up. Their threat level going up. Our suspicion level going up. Remind you, we still at peace, teaching them farming and stuff like that. It's just now you getting some other shit, and it's starting to seem like it's getting smothering. All right, we said, yeah, you cool there. Who are these people that need to be here where we already at right here? You cool right here. Who is this? You see what I'm saying? It's like that type shit. Like, who was homeboy? Like, you at the trap or something like that, bringing somebody from the suburbs, like, out of nowhere. Like, who was homeboy? You could have left him in the car or something like that. I'm just making this hypothetical for y'all to understand that the template of when you at home, and then you got some foreigners coming over, and then they're bringing other people, and you already had an establishment with just this person. You ain't had no establishment with them. Who was these? You see what I'm saying?
And what better symbol could a nation have than a tower that could reach the heavens? Obviously, the heavens were not intended
our villages and mounds
for man, unless, of course, God decreed it. The Babylonians, therefore, appear to take matters into their own hands.
They don't like that. They don't like when we want to fight back. Oh, they're fighting. The Indians is fighting. This is what you're hearing right now. But you're hearing it from white man template. That's what y'all got to understand. So it's a bias. You getting rocked to sleep low key. So you're not knowing how to see this in history.
Decided to build this tower anyway. They said, come, let us make bricks and bake them thoroughly.
We were the first masons.
Let us build ourselves a city and a tower whose top is in the heavens. Let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be scattered abroad over the face of the whole earth. Based on the text alone, it's hard to see the Babylonians here as defying God. God didn't tell them that they couldn't build the tower to reach the heavens, nor does this necessarily seem to be their intention.
It's Jehovah. It's our culture.
Their objective was to build themselves a symbol to be proud of, a structure that demonstrated their ability to build,
the land,
their creativity, and resourcefulness.
The land.
It was to be a home base.
The land.
Somewhere that the Babylonians...
Go do your research on all the ancient America architecture and stuff like that. All the drawings, all the wovings. This is what it's talking about. It's even showing a picture of it right now.
To gaze upon, to remind themselves of where they were, and to prevent them from wandering off and getting lost. The intentions of the Babylonians here appears to be benign, though it is argued that their desire to reach heaven was a sin in itself. For they demonstrate
through the eyes of the white man
arrogance, and that they believe they can reach heaven at all without God's permission. Evidently, the Bible is in accordance with this, for we are told, the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the sons of men had built. And the Lord said, indeed, the people are one, and they all have one language.
Here's the thing. Lord is talking now. When you coming over here listening to us, we're not saying the Lord talking is a word. So when we going and praising something, this is through the observer of the white man and white man trying to play God. So now you're getting this context of white man, the United States generals claiming their manifested destiny and Lord seeing what we're doing and now get ready to demonize it. Remember, name one point of time in history a God talked to you or a Lord talked to you. and you know you're getting all your information from white man writing something down. All right, so white man on anything writing something down, talk about they talking. Okay, understand.
And this is what they begin to do. Now nothing they propose to do will be withheld from them. Come, let us go down there and confuse their language, that they may not understand another's speech.
Who else did that but humans? And who else humans got a manifested destiny that believe in a God that told humans to do that? God didn't come down and separated our language. A United States general did and claimed that they manifested destiny told them to do that because we keep standing up. The end. There is no other history. And if you goddamn it want to preach, if you damn Palestinian or something like that, how does that make sense on American soil?
God here recognizes that the Babylonians are one people with one language. He understands that the people are a close-knitted bunch, but that this will in turn work against him, or cause some obstacle in the grand scheme of things.
This is us being in their way of their monetary gain. So this our land, but we're in their way of their government union establishment. So they're getting ready to play God and claim us as Native Americans is in their way. This is what this means.
He comes to realize that nothing they dream of will be impossible, implying that their desire to build a temple to reach the heavens is indeed well and truly possible, and that this would be the first of many constructions that would upset him. His statement that nothing they propose to do will be withheld from them.
So it's let you know this was the first tower we was creating to resist them after they were just coming over here in bunch and bunch and bunch. Sam.
It gives us the idea that God recognizes man's ability to overcome any problem, and that man has the ingenuity to build or create anything that he wishes, for nothing can be withheld from them. Here you might say that God fears the ambition of man, and that it will lead him to become arrogant, perhaps arrogant enough.
So this is a white man playing God, saying any man goes against our government, we have to control that character because they can become arrogant or whatever the case may be. So this is coming from white man perspective playing God.
That he will believe he can ascend to heaven whenever he fancies. So God sets upon the Babylonians.
No God ever told anybody your ego is not allowing you into heaven. This is some made up stuff around business. So understand that this is everything you're hearing right now is shit made up around land resources.
The very same fate that they had sought to avoid. He scatters them. The Bible tells us, so the Lord scattered them abroad, from there over the face of all the earth.
Now think about this, especially if you're a Hebrew Israelite and you're a foreigner. Think about this. Do you really think something flown out the sky and made us Native Americans just separate from each other? Like, really think about that. And let's say you want to take this template to think it's talking about you in Palestine or something somewhere before they brought y'all over here. Do you really believe a God out the sky punished you and your people? See, this is what makes you a foreigner if you don't understand. You're not understanding context. Humans is doing things based upon what's on their mind. And if their mind is in sync with the land and nature and is relatable, this is what we're pointing to as doing something for the Great Spirit or God. You know what I'm saying? When you go by it from a white man template, you're left into believing only one of the three contexts that I was teaching y'all that you need to put in sync. The Bible is taken as a spiritual, esoteric, mentally, and physically. What actually happened. If you lose the physical history and you're lost into the esoteric and you're spiritually lost, you're spiritually trying to just find something for validation or to be a part of something. So now you're clinging on the first esoteric or the first mentality that looked like it catered to something you may lack or something you may have been brought up in that's a dislike. And then you replace your history, what was actually going on in history. So then you don't actually realize the actual context of the circumstance or the situation, right? So you'll end up thinking that, oh, the reason I'm in this position because this God I believe in, I've done something wrong. Then you'll go to another layer of retardation. Attach yourself to a people that ain't your people and said those people done something wrong. And then you'll get into the spiritual concept I'm talking about that you lost from the physical, but you're in the physical. Claim that some God actually came to them and did something to them which allowed the white man to put them in a position. You're lost in a whole psyop. We don't look at God. That this is why Native Americans are not Israelites. The concept come from plagiarizing our shit. See what I'm saying? Jehovah come from plagiarizing Jehovah, not us needing to find the truth. And if we learn who Jehovah is or things in the Bible, we learn our truth. No, we're trying to tell y'all indoctrinated and white man is playing our God to y'all. And when y'all start to pray or catch the Holy Ghost, you're praising dead Native Americans. The ideas we had. That's what y'all worshiping. You're not even worshiping anything else on American soil. You see what I'm saying? You have to understand the clarity of this. The white man trick they got on y'all.
And they ceased building the city. Therefore its name is called Bable, because there the Lord confused the language of all of the earth, and from there the Lord scattered them abroad over the face of all the earth. We begin to see here that the story aims to explain why it is that the world in all its...
And look at all these weirdos in my chat trying to save face. Really think about that. Yo, people you with or whoever you around or whatever the case may be. First of all, they'd just be listening, wouldn't be trying to debunk or whatever the case may be. And then history speaks for itself. That did happen to the Native Americans. How is that retarded? Name anything I said that didn't happen in history. Ain't the Native Americans scattered? Ain't the Africans scattered? Ain't Asians over here in America right now scattered? Ain't it's only people who speak in language? Ain't there's towers on people's lands? Like, where you see what I'm saying? It's the government in my chat, y'all.
People
they just haters and jealous. Jealousy.
As mentioned, it was the united human race, those that came after the Great Flood, who migrated westward to the land of Shinar, and that these great number of people all spoke the same language. In order to prevent them from completing their mission of building the tower, God confuses the language of the earth.
All right, so what else happened? You get lost in spooky of the Bible all you want. Somebody was reading the Bible to do that to the Native Americans. Did we get our government stopped? Didn't we get stopped from resisting? Didn't we get civilized? Ain't us white people over here right now? Ain't us the military over here right now? Like, what is we talking about? Like, don't get in my chat talking stupid just to expose yourself.
Causing these migrants to become unable to communicate with one another. Without being able to understand each other, the tower is never actually completed. And they begin to venture away from each other, alienated by their inability to communicate and segregated by their loss of...
Basically, how the Cherokee start mixing with the Iroquois start becoming coons away from the Haudenosaunee, us Catawbas and Chickasaws and Choctaws having to go against the Cherokee, them having to wake up to realize white man is bullshitting, Iroquois still being slow, thinking that this is the best way to go about things, them realizing they have to wake up or whatever the case may be, and now you get the Revolutionary War.
Purpose. The Bible then tells us that the tower would become to be known as Bable, which is thought to have derived from the Hebraic term Balal, meaning to jumble or confuse. However, the exact origin of the term Bable has not been entirely confirmed.
Whose history is confused? Oh, this is a damn commercial. Whose else history is confused? Y'all over here in America confused as hell, and y'all listening to Myron Gaines about relationships. Tell me who's confused. Tell me who's confused. Oh, how the volume go down?
Competition between man and creator, or at least the ambition of man. Man's ambition is truly highlighted in this story, given that they desire to stand toe-to-toe with God, quite literally by building to reach his level. We've seen how much God hates this sort of thinking, most notably in Lucifer, who tries to take God's throne and establish himself as the Most High.
That's
you might
us.
say that this incident was eerily reminiscent to God.
See,
He would have seen the humans building...
It's a trick. See, it's like when white man came over here, they praised being the opposite side of us based upon our culture. So it's seen as God to us, negative to the white man. The way the white man do things, the white man know it's more unrelatable. So when the white man took our culture, the white man start doing our shit and then claim that they're the gods and we're the demons as history start to go on. Yet, when you see things being practiced in government, they show you what side they actually on. So they create dumb shit like God and the devil is the same thing. Or hey, guys, can we all just get along? Or that You know what I'm saying? That kind of Queen Elizabeth eyeball shit. You see what I'm saying? Y'all gotta peep game. It's a trick. It's a trick. Stealing Native Americans' good qualities and faking like you that, but you don't practice what you preach. It's like that. So it go deep. This how sick they is, right? It used to be a time that they had cut off certain Native American hands, and the Native American would fight back. They had cut off one Native American leg, he'll fight back. They had stabbed one Native American. Like, they was looking at our resilience, right? These cats so sick that they was eating us, right? Because our DNA, but also making Masonic practices around it. So there's a whole Masonic practice that resemble how they kill a Native American chief. And the Mason to sit up there and stand on one leg, put some blindfolds on, put a sword in it, like everything they did to try to see what mind state we was in for us to be resilient, right? Then after they done with the ritual, go ahead and take the blindfolds off, so you can still see. You ain't even actually got the spirit to actually go through that. You just acting it out like, oh, this may be what the Native American seen, so I got that power. And then the power only leads until you just having money and nepotism again. And if a police officer pull you over, you show them a ring and you don't catch a crime. That's bullshit. But they got a whole thing about it, though. This how sick they is. They got a whole Masonic practice to try to see how a slaughtered Native American who was still fighting back seen things. So they're like, oh, he was blind in one eye. Let's put a blindfold on like Nick Fury. This Native had one leg, so let's make sure you got balance with one leg. And then they start initiating all foreigners and shit like that with that practice that they reach a certain level of degree to teach them this was the highest Native American we was dealing with, and this what they thought. That's all they practice. White men don't come up with nothing on their own. The highest Masonic practice is some Native American shit, or what they done to a Native American, and like praising it. You know what I'm saying? So always keep that in mind. These cats just be like changing history and doing some weirdo shit. It's like weirdo shit. But if you was to get blind right now, you won't have that spirit. If you was to have one leg right now, you still won't be able to fight back. A lot of y'all look like Homer Simpson. So it's just like a fetish for y'all. It's not even real. The practice not even real. It's just like y'all just praising the ability for y'all to be getting money off people's resources, not what y'all thinking in y'all mind. And hey, we got the power of the Native Americans. What kind of shit is that? That's pervert shit. I would never sit somewhere and be like, oh, I got the power of the white man. No, that's retarded as hell. I'd never be somewhere with no white man bones and architecture and shit, having a whole lecture about it. Get the fuck out of here. You got to be out your motherfucking mind. Lord Jesus Christ, have mercy on my soul. And that's reality. We don't see no other cultures doing that but them. That's reality. Don't let nobody tell you different and, oh, everybody else is animals. No, you an animal. To sit up there and have somebody's family bones and you doing a whole study about it like that's supposed to be education and forward pushing movement. And we let them get away with that for a whole 300 years. That's bullshit. Ain't nothing cool about that. I never feel comfortable taking Queen Elizabeth's ankle or something like that, or keeping Queen Elizabeth somewhere frozen like Iceman on Batman or something like that. Talk about and then have a whole student lecture. Man, get the fuck out of here. What kind of shit is that? That wouldn't be nothing I even into. That would be something I even, and that's real. I don't give a fuck about nothing else. That's what's real.
Structure so that they could be, at least in the physical sense, just as high as him. The ambition of man is seen elsewhere in the Bible too. Like in the story.
Him and her. That's what we was calling the sun and moon. White man called he the white man. And now if you in law, when you say he is God, you're saying white man is God.
Eve, where it can be argued that Adam and Eve ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, for they believed it would make them like God. This is the same for those who have...
So we taught the white man that biting from the fruit energy, like that morality concept. You know what I'm saying? We taught them that to write it down. We still don't see them practice what they preach to this day though. Every time we hear about New York, as soon as they say the Big Apple, it's native hobbyism. We was called the red man to them, and the more you could slaughter, this is what they're saying they're eating. The more we can take over a tribe, slaughter them, and take their resources, we're eating. This is what they're talking about. They're eating. So, oh, I want some old deer meat. They're talking about killing a Native American. Oh, I want some. You know what I'm saying? I want my steak medium rare and bloody. They're talking about sometimes they was even eating us in that way and shit like that, because they ain't know nothing about cooking. They was eating shit raw and not washing their ass. You see what I'm saying?
Building the tower, for their desire to be on God's level is not something that he could tolerate. Through this, though, we also get a glimpse of God's mercy. After all, he recognized that those who were building the temple were not necessarily bad people. They simply wanted to achieve something to not only represent their nation, but also to be so glorious that it had its place in heaven.
No, it's just to let the settlers know this our lands. Don't get too happy and y'all bringing too many people over here. That's what that meant. We meant, look, this is what we building. We over all this shit. Don't forget that part. You trying to do too many deals, infiltrate too much. We already got kind of beef going on. You making this get a little more hectic than it needs to be. You bringing foreign shit over here, getting other tribes happy and shit like that. Chill. That's what this about. That's what this part about.
They might have overestimated their jurisdiction, in a sense, but they were not doing this in spite of God or to spite anyone else.
No, not even evil shit.
God doesn't just destroy the tower, but instead spreads this confusion by altering their languages. It is perhaps one of the most benign ways God could have dissuaded the people.
We fucked up.
He probably could have just asked them to stop.
We fucked up.
However,
right now.
In doing this, I suppose there may have been some people from amongst the group who would defy him, which would in then turn leave him no choice but to respond with more aggression.
Everybody have traitors. I don't care what ethnicity you is. You freedmans know that best. So yes, everybody have that. Everybody have in-house shit. The dog pound Masons, the Jews. Everybody have that. Y'all said we see them going to war right now. Everybody got that. That still don't give justification for other shit.
By changing languages, he removes all possibility of them working together and renders them powerless without shedding any blood.
Of course, if you move the Apaches with the Cheyenne, move some Cheyenne with the Pawnee. You know what I'm saying? Of course, and move some Shawnee with Cherokee. Of course. How? It's still sometimes like in-house. You moving somebody with a stranger, whether they're the same people or not. A person from Europe moving in with a person from Russia. Yeah, we might all say them white people. But to them, you move somebody in with a stranger still. They just amongst their people, but that's still strangers, like still different things. You see what I'm saying?
Another idea is that this was not actually a punishment or a warning at all, but instead God's way of protecting the people from building too high, where they would not be able to...
God/government preventing the Native Americans from building too much resistance, and stop convincing the damn Buffalo Soldier. Stop. Shut up. Stop making other tribes resist. Shut up. This what that means.
Breathe. And also his way of ensuring a vast range of culture by getting mankind to speak differently and to explore more regions. The first century Jewish interpretation of the Tower of Babel states that the tyrant Nimrod, the king of the land of Shinar, was the man who commissioned the construction of the tower.
Basically saying Indians is idiots. Nimrod is a symbol of an imbecile, right? So in our minds, we been friendly. In their mind, you allowed us to manipulate. So y'all don't got a good God. So their good God is a manipulating God. That's not good, though. We see throughout history how they have to even second question that, or why y'all updating Bibles.
And that it was indeed done as an act of defiance against God. This idea was most notably recognized by the historian Flavius Josephus in his Antiquities of the Jews.
Josephus, Jesuits. Anytime there's a J letter, it's their witchcraft of just changing words, but you're reading it in English. That's why when y'all be reading about stuff in different continents, it's still you in America, and this is the Jesuits. Like y'all, it's like y'all lost in some way, shape, or form. Y'all don't get it. Anywhere you see a J, the Jesuits brought it. And they came after people was doing something already. And when you get a starting point of someone taking someone's culture, here's how you get this concept of people's languages being changed, people's gods being plagiarized. All right, who else? The Jesuits, all right, you get it.
Where he states that it was Nimrod who built the tower so as to turn people away from God.
So we was imbeciles who got manipulated by Jesuits. The end. That's what it means. But that's what it means. The Native Americans is retarded because they got manipulated by Jesuits. The end. That's what it means. That don't even mean nothing else.
He also goes on to say that the reason why God did not destroy the people for their defiance was because he'd already sent a flood. And if that hadn't been enough to make man see the error of his ways, then nothing of the sort would.
The flood mean we allowed them to flood in with their culture. and cause confusion amongst us and confusion amongst the tribe. And in the white man mind, they're writing it from their bias. Hey, if the natives allowed us in their home, their God must not be strong enough. You get it? Whatever they gathering up to do must be retarded because we here now and we ain't going nowhere. That's what that means. See what I'm saying? We white and we ain't going nowhere, and it's too much of us over here, and we got a little bit of Buffalo Soldiers, and we about to make y'all get down or lay down now and take all y'all trade routes. That's what that means. You know what I'm saying?
Therefore, God sought to confuse man instead by changing his language. But interestingly, the Tower of Babel is not a story unique to the Bible. It has been told in a variety of different ways, from ancient Sumerian stories.
Yes, us taking over Africa, us taking over a little bit of Egypt, us taking over a little bit. You know what I'm saying? We're getting over to the New World. That's what they letting us know.
Other ancient traditions from around the world.
Yeah, we stole other people's culture before we came over here. You know what I'm saying? Listen real good.
It has been told in a variety of different ways, from ancient Sumerian stories,
Africa,
to other ancient traditions,
Arabia, India.
The central idea is the same, in that one group of people appear to build a tower or some
and get colonized too.
form of construction, only for their language to become disrupted or altered, so that they cannot communicate with each other effectively enough to finish what they started.
Welcome over here, Moors. Now, you know what I'm saying? Welcome over here, Israelite, Hebrew Israelites. Welcome over here, goddamn Muslims. Now, welcome. That's all I can say now. I don't own anything I was supposed to own anymore.
In a Sumerian myth, the legendary king Enmerkar of Uruk built what is known as a ziggurat, a sort of massive structure known in ancient Mesopotamia. Proud of his creation, Enmerkar demands tributes in the form of precious metals
Aztecs,
from the people of Urartu.
Mayans, Aztecs.
He's also seen praying to the god Enki to disrupt the linguistics of certain regions.
The
Incas
Incas.
Involving a ziggurat and
Enki is an allegory of the Incas.
To be the inspiration for the story of the Tower of Babel is a particular ziggurat.
This is a mere Inca. A mere Inca. A mere Inca. Based upon the culture, because they always creating words. So think about it like this, right? You're hearing it in third person. So let's say you're a foreigner. And let's say you do got a little bit of my blood in you. Whether you white or whatever the case may be. You know you really don't know what you're talking about. Like, you know you're saying a collection of bands. And we were so mixed up, there ain't really no way I can tell you a Cherokee, or you a Catawba, or you a Chickasaw, or you a Navajo. Well, we know them in the reservation is real. I'm talking about these white people and then other people who be jumping in these reservations, especially over in the East Coast, right? So I want y'all to understand. You're hearing that for an example, Catawbas, we Yezwa Hooray. So you have Hooray, you have Watery, you have Yeehaw, you have Iswa, you know what I'm saying? You have Isa. All of these is different tribes. At they Wakama, these are all different tribes. You see what I'm saying? Deer Clan, Bird Crew, after you Englishlize them and stuff like that. So it's bands. So you might hear the Incas and think that Incas is a group of people. And this is how they're able to change history and replace it. They take our stories, and then our stories be about stuff we already talking about. You might hear a story about us that sounds similar to a vampire. The white man take it and remix it, right, to make you think that we was talking about like some white people that was in the mountains. And it's really a white man way of saying, trying to say that they was here already. So if you ain't Native American, you would know that. And if you come across that story, you think something is true based off white man narrative, that the argument really is in another place, that he did manipulation. So you'll be arguing folklore in one area, not arguing that, oh, white man really just putting himself in history, and the Native Americans wasn't even including the white man in that folklore. We wasn't including white man in a lot of these folk, like the Moon-eyed people and stuff like that. They came over here and said, oh, natives be talking about little white people on the mountains and stuff. Oh, that means we was here first, the Vikings. That's what they trying to do to y'all when they change our shit. We was never talking about them. Even when we talk about the East, the West, we ain't never talking about them. They bringing it. So when you hear about the Incas, that's not one group of Native Americans. That's all the tribes and stuff that created the little civilization, how all the other tribes be doing it and stuff like that. Not that being a, so they'd try to change it. They'd be like, oh, that was the Native Americans that they might be descendants, the Native Americans now, but they might not be. These was different people. No, motherfucker, them all different tribes. That ain't no one tribe when you call something the Tiscatahara, whatever. Yeah. When we started talking about down there in Mexico or all these other areas where there was Native Americans and all in Peru and shit, they try to make it seem like those was one people. No, those all the Native Americans that's just coming together, and that's the name of the Confederacy. So it's confederacies. Catawba is a confederacy that we had to take in. A lot of people who, amongst all the tribes of Chickasaws and Cherokees that no longer want to be coons. So we was taking people in, creating confederacies. The Star Wars Confederacy is Native American shit. We created what confederacy is. We created confederacies out of kinship and tribal bands. Ain't no such thing as a confederacy without Native Americans. We came up even with that term. Well, a lot of times white men just be coming up with the terms because they be writing down shit from their perspective. So they'd take our pig leg interpreter language amongst each other, but since they ain't control of the history, you still get certain words like Indian, Iroquois, but you're not getting what we would call it, and then you'll get the biased story behind it too. That always try to make themselves a good guy or something about that.
Known as Etemenanke, the temple of the foundation of heaven and earth, which was dedicated to Marduk in the city of Babylon. Marduk, of course, being the Babylonian.
Martyr is an allegory to being a martyr. So they claim we was being a martyr. Now, from the Holy Holy, it's also the sun coming back also, because we always have a Holy Holy aspect. So for an example, right? You could be a settler or whatever. We don't just fight because we're seeing each other. We'll wait to dawn. We'll wait to a certain time, and it'll be an understanding. And we'll be looking right at you, and we'll have a war dance and everything. So that's us waiting to Marduk come back too. The sun being in a certain position, and then after the war dance, up under that, as soon as the light hit that position, we go on attack. So you got the holy aspect, us being martyrs, the holy holy aspect, Marduk, right? And then us figuring out an absolute way of whatever we doing at that time when it comes to that circumstance that we wasn't trying to do that to fight. Until settlers came, and now the ceremony have to be to fight now. It couldn't just be a ceremony that we just doing things all coming together. See what I'm saying?
Means patron god.
Damn commercial. All right.
The structure was destroyed in 689 BC by the Neo-Assyrian Empire.
That's made up. Assyrian wasn't even around at that time. But that lets you know the Assyrians, then they came over here and did that here. So you can actually see, oh, they're still doing the same practice, whether you want to believe what I'm saying or not. The same practice is being done. So this is the book that they was reading to do it.
Rulers, most notably Nebuchadnezzar II, would try to rebuild it. Supposedly, the original was never completed, and that it was missing a roof.
Couldn't complete it.
It would become an abandoned project and became victim to the elements.
They killed the SACHEM, captured the SACHEM. We all got discouraged. Same way they did me about 300 years ago, almost 300 years ago and shit like that. They did me. Back now we ain't trying to do it that same way. But they did me like that, Tecumseh.
Compromising its structural integrity. But Nebuchadnezzar II's project was also ill-fated.
They doing the same thing now. They infiltrated my whole YouTube channel and shit like that. They've been doing that since day one. They're like, what is this going on and shit like that? Soon as they start seeing me doing big old holy circles, the same way I travel to all the same areas. Every area that's my second home. I made it every lifetime. It'd be the same way. I travel the same areas. Ohio, New York, the Carolinas, then Georgia, Atlanta. My spirit always just do that. And I always do the same thing and say these are my second homes. I always do the same thing and gather up the tribe, do a circle. As soon as they seen that, y'all see my channel getting psyoped.
For it was reduced to ruins by Alexander the Great in 331 BC because he wanted to rebuild it from scratch. When he died, however, these plans were also forsaken.
I do the same thing, yeah, all the time.
There were several attempts by various leaders to rebuild Etemenanke, but the building appeared to be cursed because no one ever seemed to be able to achieve this feat.
Good job.
Antiochus I, the Hellenistic.
You feel good about yourself? You was able to do it in the 21st century cyberly? because we wasn't the cyber wave before. So y'all give yourself a hand. Yay! Give yourself a hand. Y'all say y'all should be jumping for joy. Yay! We did it this time. We did it again, y'all. Yay! Yay! Yo, you happy? Y'all happy?
King of the Seleucid Empire, was the last person to try. He went to visit the site, but after stumbling on rubble, he became annoyed at the place and ordered the riders of his elephant cavalry to destroy what was left instead.
Yeah, get them all.
Another story similar to the Tower of Babel comes from an old folktale in Mexico, associated with the Great Pyramid of Cholula.
The Incas. There we go. I said, there you go, Maya, whatever the case may be. There we go. You know what I'm saying? They telling y'all. They telling y'all straight up. They telling y'all straight up. Let's hear that again.
Old folktale in Mexico, associated with the Great Pyramid of Cholula. And the idea here is that the giants who once roamed the land set off in search of the sun. And
that's our stories. We already got stories about giants. That's how they made Cloverfield and shit like that. Type in, I'm guaranteed they got information about that. Type in Native Americans folklore about giants.
Built a tower to reach.
I might got a video about that. It might be on Patreon.
Angered the inhabitants of the sky, those that were presumed to be the gods, who destroyed the tower and disseminated the giants across the world.
We was talking about our spirit that made us build it.
Of course, in this story, the tower is left in ruins, and the gods unleash their anger on those who dare to reach them. This is unlike the god in Genesis, who, as we know, spares the tower and is quite subtle in his reaction by comparison. In the Book of Jubilees, an ancient Jewish religious work, a detailed account of the tower is given, where we are told the exact materials used in its construction, how long it took, and also how tall it was, though this is often disputed. The text reads, "And they began to build, and in the 4th week they made brick with fire, and the brick served them for stone, and the clay with which they cemented them together was asphalt, which comes out of the sea, and out of the fountains of water in the land of Shinar. And they built it. 43 years were they building it.
That's how we built the plank houses. That's how we built the long houses. All that shit.
Its breadth was 203 bricks, and the height of a brick was the third of one. Its height amounted to 5,433 cubits.
So they took our mathematics and called it the New Jerusalem. But it's a mental mathematics we come up with to build the stonery here. I don't need no instant. To build the stonery here, and that's how we was building the mounds. Remind you, white people ain't built no mounds. We built it. So that's telling you who did it.
And
we built this pre-America shit.
Was 13 states, and of the other, 30 states. Meanwhile, in the Greek Apocalypse of Baruch, a pseudepigraphical book, otherwise known as the Third Apocalypse of Baruch, Baruch ben Neriah, a scribe of the prophet Jeremiah, tells us that in one of his visions, he sees the state of both the sinners and the righteous in the afterlife. We had the vision. Now, we had ancient visions about being taken over by the white people and stuff like that. Before we was looking at them like white people. There was a vision of a rude awakening that being too friendly will be the destruction of us and stuff like that. And white man took that story and said, well, see, y'all, God destroyed y'all then. Or, like, you know what I'm saying? The white man is be trying to involve themselves and shit. But for the most part, this is what that's talking about. But this was our actual conversations. You see what I'm saying? Amongst the sinners, however, are those who first began the construction of the Tower of Babel. There are also men who have been transformed into dogs. And these are the men who once encouraged the building of the tower, or gave specific engineering advice on how to achieve it.
Us.
Baruch also tells us that those building the temple were not building for their own sense of achievement,
no,
nor to be closer to God,
no,
but to see for themselves what heaven looked like. This in turn angered God, that they would assume they had the right to see the glory that they had not earned, and so sent upon them confusion by delivering upon them the barrier of language. In Judaism, there are several midrash which detail the Tower of Babel, but one particularly vivid one is known as the general...
Now, in Judaism, so Judaism is the manuscript that was created on how to deal with Native Americans and foreigners that you bring on this land. So it's a government manuscript, you see what I'm saying? Based upon what actually happened and how to keep control of that as time go on, being the bloodline of the descendants of the government. See what I'm saying?
Declaration of Secession, And we are told that the people building the temple were displeased with God and believed it to be unfair that he ruled the upper world.
So it's a white man saying we're displeased with white man, but in our mind, right, we're doing our own thing with this concept white man created and put the term God over it. You see what I'm saying? Like, we're doing our own thing. We just got white man coming in, confusing y'all with stuff. You know what I'm saying? So right now, the way it's written is as white men already playing God. You see what I'm saying? But then it's in the context of what we going against as the white man, but written in a context of these people is dealing with these things in their own mind and their own God. But it's white man in reality at this time playing God, and it's still written in that concept if you're able to see it. See what I'm saying? But if you're not the people and it's not your bloodline, you're not able to see it in your eyes. See what I'm saying?
Whilst they were deemed to rule the lower one. To spite God and to show him their dissatisfaction, they built the tower with the intention of placing a statue at the very top, one who was holding a sword towards the heavens.
Now this is white man taking over our shit and playing that now. And now, if you want to say this is pseudo, that's one thing, right? It's another thing where you actually can go to every building in America and see a white man on a horse or with a sword as a statue. What else you think it's talking about? Like, and if you want to claim it's Palestine or something, we'll go over there. But it doesn't matter. All you got to do is follow the practice. Who's ever doing it, read in the book to do it. All right? So, like, don't get beside yourself.
You might imagine this was to show that they were not afraid of God and meant to war with him, if need be.
No one understands me.
That's basically us native. That's hold on. Just, hurry up, commercial. God damn.
The Tower of Bable, meanwhile,
listen.
And meant to war with him. Imagine this was to show that they were not afraid of God and meant to war with him.
So we was doing the tower to show the white man we're not afraid of the white man. We happy. You know what I'm saying? So that's to say, like, I'm not afraid of you, or whatever the case may be, right? But that's showing that we was doing that to build resistance, I guess, towards the white man thinking that they're God in their mind.
If need be. The Tower of Bable, meanwhile, does not seem to appear in the Quran in Islam, but there are some similarities with other stories. One in particular is when a pharaoh asks the Haman, which was the high priest, to build a tower so that he might confront Allah. This comes about because Allah had commanded Moses to go and visit the pharaoh in Egypt and invite him to monotheism and to abandon his old gods. Moses also sought to
make us stop worshiping what we already did. Not worship, but, you know, make us stop believing what we was doing and stuff like that.
The Pharaoh from his tormenting of the Israelites. But the Pharaoh would hear none of it and determined Moses and his God to be sorcerers and shamans.
Somebody said, thanks so much for the Cashapp, Xavier. Somebody said, blaming Whitey. What are you talking about? Did you do your history? All you got to do is type in what fashions colonized America. So what the hell is you talking about me blaming anybody, bitch? Listen to the story.
Outraged by Moses' request, he commanded the Haman to build him a tower so that he could condemn Allah to his face. But he never actually got this far, given that both the Haman and the Pharaoh were drowned in the Red Sea. Ibn Manzur, an Arabic...
So that was a fight against a Native American and a general. The pharaohs is the American generals taking some shit that they was doing over there in Africa and shit like that and trying to think like that's what they all over here.
Lexicographer of the 13th century wrote the Lisan al-Arab in 1290, which is one of the most comprehensive Arabic dictionaries. It features a tale about a plain known as Bable.
So it's basically saying, let's do what we did on the east over here on the west. That's what it's basically saying. Now, so here's where you get the confusion sometimes of Arab or Abrahamic text being talked about in those areas, but you over here in America. But you have to understand it. White man colonized that over there first, and that became the template. then they start trying to be those Egyptian gods here. See what I'm saying? So that's what y'all don't be understanding.
Whilst this area of Bable is never specified as
You have to look at the clothes they wear.
being a Shinar, that isn't the only significant omission. There is also no tower to speak of either. Instead, mankind seems to congregate in this particular area, and they are given individual languages by God, though not because of punishment, but perhaps to ensure that they would separate and go their own way.
So this is what you Hebrew Israelites need to understand. That's not an actual God separating our language. That's white man writing this down from the perspective of thinking that they're God, and this is what they did to us Native Americans, so we don't resist. This was the play that they had to do to prevent us from resisting. You know what I'm saying?
But in the history of the prophets and kings, a historical Arabic chronicle written by the theologian Al-Tabari, it tells us
Who else was kings? King George, King James. You know what I'm saying?
that there was indeed a tower present upon this land, and that Nimrod again was responsible for its creation.
That means the natives still trying to fight back. That's what that means. The
In
idiots.
this version, though, Allah destroys the structure first, before proceeding to split mankind up by bestowing upon them 72 different languages. Another idea presented by the 13th century historian.
So the reason you hear in history Native Americans have 500 different language is context to that. We didn't get colonized by about 500 something different times and things of that nature throughout the 300-year process and shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
Abu al-Fida tells us that Eber, the grandson of Noah, was allowed to keep the original tongue of the people, for he was the only one who did not partake in the building of the tower. Whilst there are many variations of the Tower of Babel, or a tower in general, that also seems to coincide with the establishment of language, all of them seem to end up telling near enough the same story.
So it don't matter what Native American tribe you come across. You might hear something about smallpox. You might hear something about poison in the flour. You might hear something about us being able to harvest, getting taken, us being manipulated, us being downsized, us being mixed in with other tribes. Yeah, you're going to hear that. You know what I'm saying? So no matter what tribe you come across, you're going to hear the same goddamn story. And no matter who channel or Native American you come across, you're going to hear them sound just like me.
The premise is featured across all three major religions, and also has its roots in ancient religion and culture too, as we've seen with the Sumerian texts, and also from folkloric tales too. But perhaps there's something I might have missed about the Tower of Babel, or something you'd like to add perhaps.
Yeah, you missed. It's about the Native Americans. All right, the end. So it's over, y'all. Said, I know that was going to take a whole hour. You know what I'm saying? So that's how you have to look at the Tower of Babel. If you got a better reference in history or something like that that you can point to, or however the case may be, you're just gonna be lost in your own mind. So I told you the Bible have three contexts to it. It has a spiritual context to it, aka just from a person's spiritual space, how they're gonna start to observe things from their perspective. The mental concept of it, right? That's going to be the esoteric, what we call esoteric, that become the physical, what it was actually done, the exoteric, things that's commonly known. If you don't know how to bring these things together, what's commonly known, exoteric, reality, how things was done, and mix it in where these seeds may come from in the mind, who got these characters to be doing it, from who's writing it, from who's observing the other characters for it to be written down, and things of that nature, and what it means to you in your everyday life, right? And that's the mental, esoteric, and then the spiritual. What side of the boat you gonna jump on, looking at those mental, esoteric concepts before you start to see it through that bias or that structure, through the exoteric, things that's common knowledge to you and what you're experiencing and stuff like that. So, you know, certain people may pick things in the Bible that lead them because they have this problem. Certain people may lead to another part. So that's why I always tell y'all, anything external is really just a representation of what you're trying to help help build a comfort zone or protect your vulnerability from what's going on internal. And if there's a synthetic world external created that look like it's something that can help with your internal, and then there's some bribery in it, you may not even use it to be helping your internal anymore. You might be using it to get the bribery, the money, or for some ego or attention or validation. And here's how we get bearing false witness through the lens of what we see today as preachers and certain teachers and stuff like that that's not teaching from the right perspective, or looking at things in the wrong light based upon just looking at scriptures that cater to what they're lacking based upon what's in the synthetic world at the moment right now. Like a person will pick a scripture in the Bible because they're hungry, because they was born in a world where grocery stores already are. But this Bible is made at a time when the white man is interacting with us and even other people in other continents, that you're fighting for your land where that's not a thing. Grocery stores, like, is you doing a culture that without you doing your culture and agriculture, you wouldn't be able to eat. And you having to stop somebody from stopping you with your culture that comes with eating and come with clothing and all that stuff that have been used today, made factories and industries out of to mimic other people's culture for other people to only get paid off of it. And then you're crippled to not do what you was already doing for when you was just minding your business anyway. And that's living off the land for free and still being rich. And you will still be looking the same. They just took that away from people. And then when we look at that, like what they're trying to replace it with, they don't have a culture to replace it with. And then when we sit up here and, like, I guess do what we doing right now to make them come up with that fatigue concept or however the case may be, then we the ones with the attitude, or we the ones need to be stopped or something like that. But if I had presented a culture or whatever the case may be, right, and it was fruitful, it would be no situation of a whole bunch of people involved not being able to make their own cup once they got brought to an ocean. So obviously there's something else going on of why these tactics and what we're complaining about happens to be. You know what I'm saying? And I think that people need to start protecting their culture and stuff like that. So if you decide to make a video game or a movie or however the case may be, at least your kids have something to look forward to, and the kids around them, that they all got something to participate in, because it's almost like that's why you don't want to work at McDonald's, but you'll work at a restaurant that's owned by your family. Both is the restaurants, but it ain't what we do, is how we do it. The spiritual energy behind doing something that you know gonna be there tomorrow is way better than doing something that you're slaving for, knowing that you're not reaping no benefits off of and getting scammed low key. Know what I'm saying? Where you're getting charged to work. You get pensions took out of your pay stubs every week with your hours. You be having deductions of shit that if you was at a round table, you wouldn't make no discussion to be like, how this makes sense. You'd be like, nah, I'm cool. You'll be thinking of everything in the world, how you don't need that. You'll be thinking of everything in the world, how you don't need this. You're like, yeah, I don't need that. I don't need, keep the check like this. And matter of fact, let's go ahead and kick out having to work 2 weeks in the hole too. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? You'll start coming up with all kind of. So you gotta start thinking this shit like, but y'all don't be peeping game and shit. Y'all don't feel me like that. Y'all don't feel me. Y'all rather sit here and allow people that just want to cause confusion. Well, I can't say y'all allow. Shout out to all the real people out there, but y'all know I got people on my chat that just want to cause confusion, because y'all know what I'm saying is the realest shit in the world. But just me being me is a problem with other people that's on from a different land, needing to always reevaluate of how to make that look better than what it is, how to make some shit look like gold. You know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't even never be even bothering these people. These people just jumped in my face and shit like that, then made whole culture war and shit. But that's not the thing anyway. That's just the Great Spirit showing that there's other angles and other ways where people implode themselves that can't be stopped anyway, that don't have anything to do with what any of us is doing right now. You see what I'm saying? So I can only let the energies flow. You know what I'm saying? I'm not in no perspective of things happening to you or for you. It's just happening through me. Now, when other individuals is in that energy, okay, they have to externalize. They have to self-project and things of that nature. I don't necessarily have to do that. So I don't have to be in a position of feeling like I have to do something to someone. I don't have to be in a position to feel like I have to do something for someone. When I come up here, I'm truly free, and I like to talk about what I want to talk about, bribery free and things of that nature, right? So it's genuine qualities, because the kick I get out of it has nothing to do with what they made online become to be to this day anyway. You know what I'm saying? So before likes and all that, I was online still doing this. For me to have all these videos I got. So obviously the spiritual value I get is elsewhere. It's not what they're constantly keep trying to practice witchcraft on my channel to make it. See what I'm saying? And this is their problem. I keep spiritually kicking their ass to show them your energy is misguided, is in the wrong place. And if your energy was in the right place, you'll be able to do what I'm doing, be just as intelligent, and still be able to put in actual work. For an example, a lot of these people that shadow banning me right now do drawings. They was doing those shirts, putting Soul Group on it, and a lot of them do music and things of that nature, right? They spend more time hating on me, yet I still got time and energy, and I got a child, and they be trying to scam me and stuff, but they can't. But just trying, let you know it's jealousy. And I'm still able to put in way more work in the stuff that they trying to do. How's I'm able to still put out more albums than you? You know what I'm saying? Like you're busy trying to make me stop doing something and use psyops, but you wake up every day to do that, and you're trying to do what I'm doing, but you're not practicing what you preach. You're not spending time doing what you think you like to do. Like, they music be trash. They art be trash. That's why I made a lot of them stop doing them shirts, because they were trying to sell that to my audience so they could get money or whatever the case may be. So it ain't no tribe, no band for us all to come together. Same way how I was getting buildings and shit like that off my own volition. I had to slow down doing that because ain't nobody helping me. I could do that 20 and 30 times over. But just how they was creating little psyops and stuff like that, little Native American psyops on me and shit, and then scamming me. That's a scam to me. Don't sell nobody who in real life no shit from my energy and put Soul Group on that shit and things of that nature. And that's weak. And selling real people who watch me tarot card readings and shit and astrology readings and shit. And it's the same people that's flooding my chat. And then when I be going live, open panel, clicking the link, chopping my head off and porn bombing me and shit like that. So that's just ignorant to me, for real. But other than that, I mean, do what you do. I know y'all don't give a fuck. I know y'all gonna remind me every day how racist y'all is. I'm just gonna spiritually kick y'all ass every day to the point you ain't got no influence. So that's on y'all. It goes beyond me. Your actions, you get that back. You can't get away with nothing. So you think you a god, you gonna be in a situation where you know you ain't. You know what I'm saying? Whether this life or in your afterlife, in your mind. You think you an alien, you just gonna be in front of a whole bunch of people who actually are aliens, however you perceive it. You think you intelligent, you're gonna start to see how not intelligent you are. You think you're the one discrediting people, you're only using that self-projecting for you to discredit yourself. And the thing you're using to discredit others with, you're not able to use that for your monetary gain or your benefit for whatever you see what I'm saying? That's the only thing we're going through right now. You really ain't, it's counterproductive right now. It ain't really what people think that they want it to be. You know what I'm saying? So we got to keep that in mind too. I don't got to cast no spells. I don't got to do all that shit and things of that nature. The witchcraft, the spell itself is just motivating someone to do what they already doing. So it's mental slavery. All I got to do is have you do what you already doing. You work for me. So this is how the Great Spirit teaches us how to keep people in hell and how we just keep coming back. We just keep coming back forever. People have to stay in hell because, you know what I'm saying, we can't keep, they have to keep track. We have to harness things. This is how we do on the ground. We used to have a whole little field we etch out and burn out from the bugs and stuff like that to start to harness and to create the Holy Council before we make the main stationary Confederation house, longhouse, that all the other extension plank houses and teepees and wigwams and stuff like that going to be the extension of in that little fort, or however the case may be. But it's like the happy hunting ground. So you want to make sure you hold on to a person's energy and play out all the characters that make a person react to it. Remind you, because you're already in that spiritual space. So you're just a creator. You create the light. A person who's motivated internally to do something outwardly and negative already this is how you control those type of individuals, or they wouldn't be that way in the first place. So whatever a person is doing to get an upper hand or their ego, we know none of these things mean anything in the first place. We know a person is building up their own mind to do what they're trying to do outwardly once it bends in and become an externalization. See what I'm saying? So as the Great Spirit teaches us, we want to help demons. You know what I'm saying? We want to make a demon feel like their gold and light that they're inside of, that's really darkness, is the brightest thing in the world. And even challenge it. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that just give them a little here and there. Don't let them know everything. Give them here. So they could be like, well, no, I know that. Give them a little bit there and stuff like that, and be like, well, no, I own that, right? So when they're in their own mind, it's no ifs, ands, or buts. You know what I'm saying? And the spirit can't do anything else but want to cut them thoughts off, cut them feelings off and things. So, but you have to allow the spirit to have their power, and if it's in a certain area, you guide it for them. So if you know what pocket they're in, you make sure you make it fruitful, you make it plump and stuff like that, because the spirit create the mind, and everybody's supposed to take that responsibility. So you can't necessarily, stop individuals, but what you can do is add on to it. You know what I'm saying? So they only seen you because they was born in this world and they woke up and became 18, but the things that they're developing is the only thing that they take with them. They may not be able to take the things that their mind developing to give them the ability to attract down here. They're not going to be able to take that with them, but the mind that they created to be able to obtain that, that's what you take with you after death. And things, and it play out in reverse. Whatever you thought you was doing outwardly when you was alive, you only could do that inwardly when you're in your own mind, not in your body anymore. You see what I'm saying? So the extreme dislike you have for someone else is really just a dislike you're going to have for yourself. Like, you're not going to be interacting with me in your dream. So if you die and go to hell, that person you see that you think is me, when you're alive right now, building up that mind state to have you motivated to externally put on me or whatever the case may be, you only see that in your mind. Me personally, I'm not going to be in your dream. That's the image you created because you didn't like me when you was alive. So that thing you didn't like about yourself going to look like me in your dream. You're only going to see my face. And you're going to be coming up with all this entertainment ways until you burn yourself out and no longer entertained by it, no longer entertained by me. But you're not alive anymore in the physical to cut it off. You're not practicing what you preach. You've been here for 10, 15 years, so we don't let you go. You know what I'm saying? But when you do dream, I'm all you could think of. You just don't got no body to be able to exercise building up a mind state without me in it anymore. So when you in your mind and things of that nature, I'm the only thing that's there. And that's how God works. And I love all y'all from the bottom of my heart. Flight boss, bitch, they didn't kill God a lot of times. It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So where they're going, they push something into samsara there. Like many spirits. There's a lot of spirits that ain't even let motherfuckers get out. Even if they try to have grace. Like, it's deep. You know what I'm saying? But the spirit world is deep in this motherfucker shit. So y'all gotta understand that. But we're in a time right now where humans don't care. So we have to build on that. We have to allow human to get so much in their ego and have them in all their beliefs of, yeah, this is the only life. Have them all in this concept. I don't believe in that stuff, because you have to make that up in your mind. If you a spirit and you know better and you got these type of, they wouldn't be in no other position at being a parasite if they're not in that, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? When a person truly know, you don't need external validation, negative or positive. You don't have to prove to others you're over them by mental authority or weaponry. You actually want to separate from people after a while. You know what I'm saying? So we're in some type of situation where it's not like that. We got people who need a way to go about something to even control people. So it's a weak way of doing something, because you have to create a game to even gain authority over people who's more powerful than you spiritually. Because that's what it means. If you got an influence from the ground bottom up, I mean, you see how they're attacking my shit, and I'm not even in they shit or doing extreme shit how Y'all see these other content creators or people that's on stages and shit, being an orator, Martin Luther King's and things of that nature, and talking the whole Democratic Party shields and how they talking and shit like that. I'm not nowhere near involved in that shit. Don't want to be. You know what I'm saying? But at some point, you see that all of them is gathering up on my shit. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of give you like an aspect of kind of what's going on, and people are unsure. People are in some type of self-doubt about themselves. You know what I'm saying, because I didn't never come up here and try to get validated by anybody white or anybody else. I came up here and was myself. These individuals constantly on other people's channels. Because I think about it more morally, like person to person. Yeah, it's one thing to be in some type of brotherhood where y'all got other reasons to flood people's channels. But man to man, right? As a man, you never see me like flooding somebody's channel, trolling and spamming, and nor do you see me preaching to real people in my life to create a whole bunch of fake pages and do that on y'all. So morally, like, it's like y'all in a mind state where the government got you so I'm God and whatever I say so go energy. You're not men anymore. So when it comes to being a man, here's why you see politicians look like Homer Simpsons and stuff, and look like they're unqualified to take care of kids, and the men quality is gone. And then we see what they're pushing and stuff like that. So like they're going hard to protect an establishment that don't have anything to do with moral qualities, like who raised you qualities first. You know what I'm saying? So that I always come at stuff like that. I don't really be in a child mind, and they come over here in like a mind state that's the same age as my daughter. And happy flight day to my daughter. I don't know her flight day today, but you know, they come in a mind state like that. You know what I'm saying? And that's weird. Like I got a child, and y'all come on my page and been acting the way like my child friends act. This is why I'm able to come at y'all like this, and y'all don't understand it, and y'all get belittled. You get little homie every day. Like y'all try so hard to make it seem like y'all pushing a sentiment or y'all the God or something, but y'all show real people in real life. Y'all focus on the wrong things. But I love all y'all from the bottom of my heart. Not them, but you know, all the genuine people out there. Flight boss, bitch, you know, and don't let your culture get extinct if you're on this type of train. That goes for y'all Freedman, y'all Puerto Ricans, y'all Asians, Mexicans. You know what I'm saying? Y'all look at how they doing us. Look how they doing the Native Americans. You know what I'm saying? And look at your lands. And look at this land. And then look at what's going on right now. And look at all your complaints. And tell me how that ain't nothing else but what we just talked about in this live stream. If you want to debate me or not. Like, I don't even know why would you even be in that spirit. In some way. You must have washy-shoe thinking. I'm saying that's it. If you're another ethnicity. Now, if you're a white boy, that's cool. You're like anybody in any other area. This ain't for you. We're talking about white boys in government. They're the only ones exercising that. They're the only ones even manipulating other ethnicities and people from India and Arabs and stuff like that. And the Africans over there. Like, what's that homeboy Ibrahim dude? He know he practicing British kind of man games. He know that. He wouldn't even be televised. What platform is making money? Listen, I'm gonna give y'all a play. Learn from us Native Americans. When you really got something going on, you actually trying to stay the fuck out the way. And you ain't trying to participate with nobody's platform and shit unless it's your own, that you could just talk to your own. The end. And I love all y'all from the bottom of my heart. Flight boss, bitch, you know. For sure. You're not listening to the Mind of an Terrorist Move. I'm the Royal Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. Y'all take that. Take that as a hint. Wink, 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 chalk, talk. Anytime something is over popularized or publicized, that is the very Briticana man English game itself. Pilgrim man game itself. So no matter what continent, what ethnicity, it's platformed, it's popularized, it's bred a kind of man. When you're doing something for real, you don't want no parts of none of that. But get ready to be third world country, like the Native Americans got did, for you to be over here right now. And I love y'all.